And we are live.
Yeah. Modeling School.
Welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and I'm here with my man
Steve, real name no gimmicks, also in HD. How the hell are you?
I am friggin' amazing. Happy whatever day it is. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. As we were talking about in the green room, your boy has broken the record. I got the vid for the 5th time, man. There's got to be a way for me to cash out on this, man.
Well, you only cash in that. Do you get points for having a fake disease 5 times in a row?
I think you get negative points if it's fake. like my hit points.
Anyway,
is so low.
I'm gonna keep it less political, more entertaining. We got so much going on, crazy things in Star Wars, crazy things in the MCU, crazy things in the world, man.
World is going nuts. World is going nuts, man.
The world's going nuts. Are you excited about Thursday?
Yeah,
that is the debate.
Oh,
Biden and Trump, finally.
Yeah. No, I'm not excited.
This is going to be the showdown. This is going to be the showdown. And actually, I'm sorry to steal your honorable mention, but as long as we're talking about it. From what I understand, have you heard CNN has been threatening YouTubers? So here's basically how it works. A presidential debate, although sponsored by a single network, is considered fair use in its thing. Just like, because basically there are all these rules about political speech, and the idea is that you can't restrict a citizen of America from seeing what the government or what the democratic policies process is doing, right?
Right.
So what it is there's no way they can sue if you take images or even live stream their stream of it and put it on your thing. And actually, all the other channels will do that. They'll be like, "This is brought to you courtesy of CNN."
Right.
They have warned YouTubers that if they stream any of it, they will try to take them to court.
Really, CNN?
Yeah.
Does not surprise me. Does not my buddies. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, man, with wavering numbers in regards to traditional media. I'm going to stop using the term mainstream media. I want to go more middle of the road, because whenever I hear someone say mainstream media, I have to admit that I have a preconceived notion about whatever's about to come out of their mouth next, but traditional media, right? Old school media.
I prefer bitch ass media, but
there you go, those punk ass motherfuckers. It's still, it's on life support, obviously being held up by the senior citizens and the general population that has not snapped into YouTube yet, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. And it wouldn't surprise me if Fox did anything like this, man. The only problem is, man, in regards to content creators, and I know your viewpoint on this, man. I just want to throw it out there for folks, man. If the content creator does not say, "Hey, these are my political opinions," and presents them as facts, be very wary of those people, man. They'll be the first one to join the Gestapo that sends the people to your house, man. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. CNN needs the viewership, man. They when I say they need it like a crackhead needs the next hit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so some people like Tim Pool, I think it's Tim Pool, is like, "I'm going to stream it on YouTube anyway. I'll take me to court." He thinks this is going to be a fun battle. In the end of the day, YouTube is going to side at first with traditional media.
Yeah. So is CNN hosting the debate? Is that why they have okay?
They're hosting it. And so, however, other people like Steven Crowder are saying, "Well, I'm just going to stream it on Rumble." People who respect the fact that it's fair use.
Yeah.
And I don't even have to have you destroy me.
So
Interrupt my stream.
fair use can be so vague in regards to what qualifies for fair use, especially under the ever-changing, morphing algorithm of YouTube, man. So at some point, I really need to sit down and look at the terms and conditions and see what still qualifies as fair use. Because if it's an intellectual property, then you don't really have an argument there. You have to be commenting over everything during that live debate for it to be considered fair use. It's one thing if they cut it up and they snippet it.
So the political debate, it falls under political free speech in fair use. And so that's different. And so it's true. If you had someone else's live stream, you have to comment over anything. But technically, and as it has been done before, if I were to stream CNN's presidential debate and say nothing, I'm still in fair use because it's political free speech.
Okay.
Because we have to stay informed on what the political process is happening in our country.
Real quick, shout out to my COVID partners. Apparently, Bex and Shaolin also have the vid.
What's going on here? Fangirls for Fanboy says Bex. Damn, you too, Steve? What is up? Yep, and got strep on top of that. Oh my God, she's headed to the grave. Now I shouldn't make those jokes. You're lovely, Bex. You're gonna make a lovely corpse. Shaolin says CNN screwed themselves when they decided to be more moderate with what they broadcast. The right has always hated them, and they lost the left when they did that. Yep. Yeah. The right is not about to start watching CNN. No, absolutely no way. I throw up in my mouth when I just think of CNN. So.
Oh yeah, I threw up a little bit. That's why I had to mute my mic right there, man. Speaking of things that make you throw up in your mouth,
Amber Heard.
Yes, that bitch definitely makes me. I want to get to this one early while I still have Mantis fully present right now with me because I feel like his anger will take over later as the show continues.
It's true. I get 11 o'clock demons.
Yeah.
They come out. Make me say things.
A certain content creator that I sent you a video for, young lady who I just got put on to her by Tyrone Magnus. Shout out to the OG. Called Snarky J, has done a letter to Kathleen Kennedy from Star Wars toxic fan base. So before we watch the video, I know since we've been doing Fanboy, the format is we BS for a little bit, then we naturally organically shift our way into honorable mentions, which could take up a fair amount of the show, which is why I wanted to get to this early. Before we listen, Mantis, you and I have critiqued Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, the MCU. We've gone after everyone and their mother, right? I think we're pretty consistent. If it's trash, it's trash. If it's good, it's good. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about people pinning or videoing letters to Kathleen Kennedy and Disney Star Wars?
So actually, it's funny that you bring that up. So Snarky J already pissed me off, within the last week or two because of her unfair. She's one of these people who are like acolyte hater, and so I have no use to it. Right. She's trying to jump on that bandwagon. However, that being said, I do think that it's better to make a video that's a letter to Kathleen Kennedy. That's a way better way of critiquing something, than just ripping something apart.
Right. Okay.
And so I would prefer that. I feel that's more productive.
Okay. And you would say they're well within their right. Like the fandom has the right to say whatever they want, even if we think it's not logical or if there are gaps in the thinking and stuff of that nature. And it seems to me, the more I examine this acolyte situation, at least the fandom or the fandom menace, as they used to be known, or people who qualify themselves as the fandom menace. I always thought that was a cold ass name. At least they're consistent, right? They have not liked much of what's come from Disney.
Literally anything. I was out there like, what do you mean consistent? But you're right. They consistently hate everything.
Right. And to be fair, Disney has consistently, up until recently, in my opinion, dropped some bombs. I, though, enjoyed Mandalorian Season 3. My big problem was the fight scene at the end and the Boca, whatever her fucking name is, the handing of the dark saber off. I just thought that was done clumsily. But I kind of saw the vision where they didn't want Mando tied down to being the leader of. That's how I took it. Tied down, his story tied down.
You know what I'm saying? Why don't they have a comic book fight? I don't understand what was wrong with having a comic book fight. Have them beat each other up.
Right.
She finally defeat him. She hold the blade to his throat. She's like, and he say mercy, and she's like, okay, spare you. I am now the leader, and everyone would be satisfied. But to set us up, look at me, I'm already getting excited.
Yeah.
The subject of Star Wars gets me excited.
Right.
In many ways, ladies.
Whoa.
And they could have easily done that, but instead of like literally handing them the sword over, was literally the worst decision they could have made.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because I brought that up because I was, in my delusion, I was telling you about watching tons of Star Wars videos and waking up to them. Someone brought up a good point, man. Who was the person that defeated Maul when he had the Darksaber? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, because they're already thinking, if we're going by cartoon logic, it doesn't make sense because at various times characters have handed the lightsaber, the Darksaber, over to one another.
Yeah. And the person who defeated him was Palpatine. And I watched a very thought out video of why Palpatine would not take on the Mandalorians because it would kind of destroy his subterfuge story that he had going on. But that was my big issue. Now, we're going to watch this video, man. And you have been a Star Wars fan through and through. Now, I saw it like most kids did my age, man. I actually had it on Laserdisc. My mom put me on the Star Wars. We would watch it, and I didn't really comprehend it, but I loved it, man. I used to get sad when that one Ewok tried to wake up his dead friend. I also realized early on the Ewoks were going to eat all of them.
Yeah.
For all you people that have issue with those
and they probably ate some of those stormtroopers, definitely.
They most certainly ate the stormtrooper.
They're later on using their helmets for drums. I was like, if you think about it, you're like, wait, where's the stormtrooper's head?
They ate him.
Oh, Lucas is a secret savage. He is a secret savage.
I've been alive long enough to remember when we went to go see The Phantom Menace. Do you remember we went to go see it at the $10 movie theater, which for some reason was not the $10 movie theater that night?
And because it was Phantom Menace. That was
it was a huge line. We went to the diner afterwards. We got into a huge argument about you guys not being happy about something, and I was trolling you guys. And I remember all the stuff that Lucas has caught. I would like to say that I've been around long enough. Maybe I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan, but I've been around long enough, right? Let's listen to what this young lady says, and then I'm going to turn it over to you because you, by today's standards, are allowed to critique it.
Anyone is allowed to critique it as long as they're a real Star Wars fan.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a joke, guys. That was a joke.
Palpatine did beat him and take that saber. He should have took that saber.
He should have taken that saber. There's a bunch of things, but they didn't think of that rule yet.
Yeah. Folks, make sure you hit the like button for me as well, man. Hit that like button.
Let's hear. Let's check out this chick's letter. Yo, you think Tyrone hit that?
No, man. He's completely in love with Scarlo, man. Leave that man.
Oh, you are so naive.
Leave that man.
I cannot believe you are this naive. Okay. Right. You don't think that he gave her okay, anyway.
Fan base is now toxic, as radioactive as Chernobyl and twice as ugly as anything inside.
She really is
Hi, y'all.
snarky.
Snarky J cosplay here. We live in a society that loves inclusivity, but for some reason also really prioritizes putting labels on everything. All for the purpose of separating us into increasingly more marginalized groups so that we can all play the "you can't criticize me, I'm this" card. And over at the House of Mouse, where the daily chore is desecrating the ever-rotting corpse of Star Wars and its legacy, nobody likes labels more than Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, and all the other shills that work every day incredibly hard to make Kathleen's view of the Force come true. The Force is female, nerds are gay, the Star Wars fan base is toxic and male-dominated. Star Wars fans
Okay, I'm going to interject right now. And so I'm already going to disassemble part of her thing, and which is why so Snarky J is either an idiot or she doesn't pay attention, or she's writing something. Right. So I don't know if anyone in the chat or if you have seen the clip where Leslie Headland says Star Wars is gay, nerds are gay, R2D2 is a lesbian. Have you seen that video?
She didn't actually. I haven't seen that video.
She said all of those things in the most joking way ever. So the questioner was like, the interviewer was like, so would you say this is the gayest Star Wars ever? And she starts cackling, laughing. She's like, it's super gay. It's so gay. And by the way, did you hear R2D2 was a lesbian? And she's like, give me a break. Nerds are gay nowadays. And so people lost their collective mind. She's making a joke. Lesbians can't make jokes apparently nowadays.
Also, here's the thing about it too, man. She definitely got lambasted and she completely did not know that question was coming. What's the young lady's name? Steinberg or whatever her name is, man.
Yeah, Amanda Steinberg.
She was way more into it. I think that the things she said were probably way more problematic, or at least alluded to what their argument's going to be. But I digress. Let's continue.
Embarrassing for having opinions, all that good stuff. And we talk about this a lot here. Well, I talk about this a lot here, but I thought, you know what? Instead of ranting, why don't I do something productive? And instead, today, craft a letter to Kathleen Kennedy, her supporters, and Disney shills everywhere about the truth about Star Wars.
Oh, already, this is fucking offensive. and so what it is that I can't stand that they throw this thing around. If you like The Acolyte, you're considered a Disney shill. Maybe I just like The Acolyte. And trust me, there's a bunch of shit from Disney Star Wars and MCU I do not like.
Right.
I'm like a huge critic. Actually, some people don't like me because they're like, Roy, you are so critical of the MCU. Don't you love the MCU? Don't you love Star Wars? Right. They make a lot of bullshit and they do a lot of woke shit. But I'm saying you're not allowed to like one thing because now everyone's argument is you're a Disney shill.
Right.
No, bitch, I'm a man with an opinion.
Right. I would love to hear their definition of shill, right? Because I always assumed it was someone that just simps for everything and is an apologist for everything the person they're shilling to is. If you are an apologist for that, then yeah, you're a shill. If you can't admit where things are wrong, yeah, then you fit that criteria. But I wonder how many people actually just like, hey, man, I'm enjoying this. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that bad compared to, say, the Book of Boba Fett, which in my mind didn't have any LGBTQ messaging in it at all. And it didn't.
It was other than the fact that it was made for pussies and made him a pussy.
Yeah. It was so good up until when the flashbacks ended, man. It was had so much potential.
It actually started strong. I was like into it. I was like, okay, he's done this thing. Just kind of fell apart. It was nonsense. It was really bad. I think it's one of the worst Star Wars productions they've done so far.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan, in my opinion, just fell flat because of bad characters. And really, now I'm going to say something controversial. Was there really a need for a show of that time period between Obi-Wan that had no real stakes or consequences?
Right. And I obviously being like a fan fiction guy, I made like a couple of fanfics of like what an Obi-Wan movie or story would be like. And obviously my personal opinion is all of them would be better.
Right.
But there was a way to put stakes into that. But when you have the villain be Vader, you realize there's not much they can do with each other.
Absolutely.
Neither one of them can diss each other, break each other, kill each other. It's just so stupid.
It goes nowhere. It can go nowhere, man. But let's continue. Rogue, I'm so happy you got to join the show off work. Good for you.
What up, Rogue? Holla at your boy. Shaolin says Palpatine beat Maul when he had it. Absolutely. But according to the rules, he should be Lord of the Mandalorians. Also, according to the rules in Rebels, somebody, I forget who, hands it over to Bo-Katan. Yes, it's the worst Jedi ever from Ahsoka.
Right.
I'm forgetting that Asian girl's name. So that should not have been allowed.
Oh, Sabine Wren.
Yes, Sabine Wren. So it's all just kind of. It's funny. I remembered a bird. There's something about a bird. But anyway, let's see what this chick is.
Wars fans and see if maybe, just maybe, somebody will stop insulting, stop slapping labels, and actually listen. But first,
is it possible that they could do a letter and actually talk about their feelings and critique something without insulting us? So right now, this letter is to you and me.
Right.
I don't know if you're gathering that. But
yeah.
This letter of this video you picked is, or she's about to insult us.
Well, here's the thing, man.
Because we're Disney shills in her eyes.
Again, I would have to understand what their definition of a shill is, but I would have no problem. Actually, I gotta be real with you, man. She's got 91,000 subscribers. I had not heard of her until recently. She just recently popped up in my my algorithm. Doesn't mean she hasn't been putting in that work. The first time I saw her, I didn't click on her video because I assumed she was some type of political conservative commentator. that was now jumping on the Acolyte to garner more views. Because, you know, you got your girl Brett Cooper or whatever her name is talking about it. I'm sure she doesn't watch Star Wars. But I could give two fucks if this woman thought I was a shill, bro. That's
right,
the thing.
Well, I mean, you know, obviously I'm like, do I want this person on my show who's gonna insult me, right, in her video? So that's not one, and that's another reason why I don't have Amazing Lucas videos on here, because he's fucking insulting race grifter. But I'm saying I've been known this bitch, and I know she's a grifter for a while, and so let's watch the grift.
I have to keep this channel running somehow, so this video is sponsored by Manscaped, the global men's lifestyle brand that's helped over 10 million men worldwide to achieve superior men's grooming. For danger zone also comes post-shave, all things. Trust me, fellas.
Wow, that's a long video.
Until now.
Rogue says, sup, Steve and Mantis. What up, Rogue Radio? Izzy says, hey, this is the Fat Mantis, and you're watching the Disney Channel. Yes, right? Did they wokeify Star Wars? They did the same to Doctor Who. So here's what I'm saying. Star Wars is not wokeified. Here's what it is. They're saying that it's wokeified. This is the problem with the argument. They're saying it's wokeified. I'm telling you, Doctor Who is absolutely wokeified. Suddenly, the Doctor woke up one day, and he was an exuberantly gay black man who makes social criticisms on his adventures. And that was never who or what the Doctor was about. It is messaging after messaging on the new Doctor Who. It is disgusting. Star Wars is not doing anything like that. The only thing Star Wars has done is cast 2 black females in the lead roles of their latest show. Not even the universe. She doesn't have a movie. It's just a show.
Space lesbians, man. Space lesbians.
Nothing wrong with space lesbians. They got to eat too, right?
Oh, double entendre.
46 and a half years ago, people lined up in droves to watch and experience something they'd never seen before. A new up-and-coming space opera that would literally change the course of history forever, and would also give birth to something new. The Star Wars fan. The Star Wars fan can't be easily described physically. Since 1977,
Rika says,
the
Doctor
Star
Who
Wars
got
fan
BBC'd.
has every language under the sun, has been from everywhere you can imagine, is black, white, every color.
Rogue says, I started watching the first few episodes of Doctor Who, and I honestly can't do it either.
And some,
I saw the first 2
we're
episodes,
not
it was
entirely sure.
horrible.
But the Star Wars fan, most importantly and above all, has always been passionate about Star Wars. After all, fan is short for fanatic for a reason. The Star Wars fan has raved about The Empire Strikes Back and lambasted George Lucas for the inclusion of Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. The Star Wars fan has ranted about midichlorians, but raved about the beauty of that final battle in Revenge of the Sith. We blew up YouTube when that first trailer for Episode 7 dropped, and Wait,
we're going to go back a little. Because we're going to talk about what the real complaint was about the Force Awakens.
Right? Yeah. So again, here it is, man. My political views have changed a great deal. If you go back and look at my Facebook posts just in this time period, I was way more left leaning back then, man. Like I just was.
Oh my God, you were disgusting.
I was just way more left leaning back then. But I do remember, I have no reason to fudge it. I don't get brownie points, man. I remember some of the groups I was a part of when this guy came out in this first trailer, man. And I cannot tell you how many people were so upset about a black stormtrooper holding a lightsaber in the trailers. And
and they never gave a good explanation as to why it can't happen. They just were like, this is wrong. Half of them were saying black men can't be stormtroopers. And I was like, what are you talking about? And the other half was like, a black man can't be a Jedi. And I was like, what are you talking about? There have been black Jedi. So, and there's never a good explanation. There's never a good, here's what I'm saying. Space lesbians don't dominate the new show, but they're a major part of the show. But here's the saying: why can't there be space lesbians in Star Wars?
Yo, honestly, man, here's the thing. Why can't there? I don't care if there are. Again, I am anti-agenda. I am most certainly anti-agenda, but I've always been consistent. Like, hey, if you can make sense in the story, then fine, do you, boo. But I'm also not going to lambast every Star Wars fan and say, hey, Star Wars fans were reacting like a bunch of racist pricks. I just kept saying it was a few nerds on the internet that were racist and they couldn't handle it. I didn't put that on the entire fandom. I was never that.
I would never. And also, I do know if this is where this is going, where she's going to say that like Kathleen Kennedy attacks the whole fandom. I do agree that is wrong. And on that part, I agree with Snarky J.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy is a fool, and she must not like money for attacking all of the fandom. The fandom is misogynist.
I'm against things.
That?
I'm against things that divide the fandom, but also I like to hold the fandom accountable where it's like, and I've held you to account on this, my brother. Sorry, vid voice. You got to let the story go where it's going to go. Let it conclude and then let's shit on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Here's what I'm saying. I do. Honestly, in my defense, I do that. Now, I do theory craft a lot. I have theories, but remember, with each episode, my theories change because I'm like, now I know new information. Now new it's mutating. I have fun predicting, even when I'm wrong. I'm fine with that.
Right.
But people will not do anything, and so just over the weekend, a good friend of mine bought into the incellery of believing that the Acolyte was woke and bad, and he refused to watch it.
Oh, okay.
And I said, motherfucker, I'm going to leave your house right now if you do not turn this shit on.
Was it the birthday boy? It wasn't the birthday boy.
It was the birthday boy. And yeah, I know what you're saying. He's woke. He's a woke guy. And yet somehow he's like, well, I saw some YouTuber saying it was stupid. And he's watching it, and every 5 minutes he's criticizing. He's like, well, that's not how a lightsaber works. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what you just saw. I don't know that classification of ship. And so he started as a scoffer. And I don't mean just scoff, using the casual term scoffer. I mean the biblical term scoffer.
Yeah.
Someone is too ignorant, too stupid, and is just purposely being a troll.
There are some things that it's funny you bring up biblical text, like it's exegesis and eisegesis. Exegesis is when you exegete and you read what the text is saying and you build from what the text is actually saying. Eisegesis is when you import what you believe onto the text. That's one thing with the Bible. When it comes to the headcanon, and again, this is something that I've had a huge problem with. Your headcanon is fine, bro. That's fine. You want to write fanfic, all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you don't own the property. And I could be on your side up until the point where you start saying no, and I'm like, well, it just happened, right? Like for instance, if they make Cyclops black, that has nothing to do with canon. That is an overt maneuver that I would lean towards wokeness. Like,
well, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I will say this about headcanon though: you as a fan have the right to ignore any part of a canon that you don't like. Like for instance, I never watch. I watch X-Men movies over and over again. I will never watch Wolverine Origins ever again. Right. I do not believe it's canon. It did not exist. In Roy's headcanon, that's not part of the X-Men universe.
See, but even that, you have to be careful, right? You can ignore it, but unfortunately, it does exist. Now, the minute the film studio ignores it,
does not.
It doesn't.
It does not. No.
It's just we got to deal in reality here, man. Do I wish Eternals would not have been made? Yes. Does it exist? Yes. Has the MCU chosen to ignore it moving forward? Yes.
Yes, they're with me. It doesn't exist because the MCU will not acknowledge that there is a 7,000-foot robot made of crystal coming out of the side of the Pacific Ocean, and they have not addressed it for like 10 movies.
But here's the thing, man.
So they're with me. They're also like, let's ignore it ever happened.
It's canonized in the MCU universe. We can't dispute that.
Because we haven't seen anything.
We can't dispute that. But in regards to Finn, man, my divergence from Star Wars was poor handling of this character, man. On top of this dude's very honest critiques about like, hey, man, it just doesn't make sense what they did with the character. I don't want to be Disney Plus, all that stuff. He raised some legitimate concerns about his character. And for me, Finn will be one of the most tragic stories never told. Period, point blank, man. And it's so funny because to see people come around to the miscarriage of justice in regards to Finn is amazing. But in the same vein, shout out to Anthony English, man. He's a guy that I had on early days of Hold Up TV, and he, would be considered, some people would consider him woke. I don't know if he would qualify himself as that, but he also doesn't like the Acolyte. But I suspect I know why, given his worldview, why he doesn't like it. So, but moving right along, you can let it play.
Yo, Shaolin says, when the Force Awakens trailer dropped, I remember feeling that it was 1950s again. That was one of the most racist times that I can recall. I agree, and honestly, I feel for me it's happening again. Everything that's happening when this trailer dropped is happening again when it comes to Acolyte, because I'm looking at like I said, I watch all their videos. I started watching all the videos, at least for the first 3 episodes. And I was like, none of these complaints are like close to being valid.
Yeah, and that's been my argument against the anti-woke community. I'm like, hey man, if the end of the day, if your only critique is that it's woke, and I just can't hear any actual critique on the story. There are some people who can critique the story, and I'm like, fine, no need to involve. But there are just other people, man. There's one dude on YouTube, man, who critiques Star Wars, and he went as far as pointing out the occult in the witch covens, and I'm like, duh, idiot! It's a cult of witches. Oh my! You think you're?
So I had one person who's related to me. They were criticizing it, and they were like, "Well, the Jedi are just stealing children," and I was like, "Well, those are dark side users," and he's like, "They use the dark side," and I was like, "Isn't it obvious?"
Yeah.
And to him, it wasn't obvious that witches use the dark side.
Yeah, they're dark side users, man, and. It's like the lowest hanging common denominator. But again, we're almost through this. This is why I wanted to start early. Let's get it.
First trailer for episode 7 dropped.
Rico,
and we
I'm
cried.
gonna do you the justice. Put that comment up on the thing right now.
Rico says the stormtroopers mostly came from clone troopers, so most would be clones that look like Jango, whatever the hell he is. But there's no reason the Sith wouldn't ever keep war prisoners. IMO.
In my opinion. So the stormtroopers, unfortunately, Rico, after the Clone Wars, were made up of inscripted men that came from,
because they couldn't afford keep
the
cloning all the time.
Yeah, there was actually a clone revolt. That planet that made the clones made a batch of clones that there was a little civil war. So the stormtroopers after the Clone Wars, and the Empire Strikes Back.
The stormtroopers are just normal
the normal
citizens.
People. That's why they're less efficient.
Very good call. Look at Steve in the beginning said he was like, "Well, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. You know your shit.
I know my shit. It's just like, also I got to take that. I'm gonna reverse on the anti-shill community, which is maybe you should go outside. Maybe your grasp on reality."
RM says that relative of yours is kind of slow. Well, thank you.
No,
Rico
I didn't.
Says, oh yeah.
No, Rico, it's not about checking up. Here at the Fanboy Modeling School, I've been checked once. I think it happened. It was a Tuesday. I was inebriated, but it's not about checking.
In his head canon. It was only once.
I've only ever been wrong once, and my wrongness was thinking that you were right, and I backed you up, and then I was like, "This motherfucker's wrong," and now I got that blotch on my record. But gotta continue. I'm sorry.
RM says clones age rapidly too, so by the time the sequels, most would have been dead. Absolutely. And then not only that, another thing we got to point out is once again people jumping to conclusions. In the trailer, they see a black man and a stormtrooper. Now, here's what I'm saying: he could be a stormtrooper. He could be someone who stole the costume of a stormtrooper. There could be any million explanations. However, the explanation they chose to give us, which they did, which you'd have to see the movie and pay attention, is. He actually says, Kylo Ren actually says, "I hate these conscripted troopers. Maybe we should use clone troopers instead." He literally has a line to explain it. The trolls jumped on this immediately. This one little clip.
Now, again, I'm not denouncing every Star Wars user. I'm just saying it's something that did happen. Shaolin and I have no vested interest in making up that there were some people saying some way out shit. But it just amazes me whenever you bring that up. They're like, no. Or some of them have pivoted to, well, that's just an outlier. Okay, man. Well, the people you're describing as Disney shills, might not actually be Disney shills. They might just be people who enjoy Disney Star Wars. As crazy as that might be for you and I to grasp, there are people who actually enjoyed the sequel trilogy. Like, I also know that they seem to be well adjusted. They're just like, yeah, I thought it was a good time. Took my kid to see it. My kid really enjoyed it. And yeah, I moved on with my life. What are you so upset about? It's like, and now I got to explain to them like narratives and shit like that.
I think maybe the reason I hate all these YouTubers, and I've been doing a unfollow and unsubscribe a campaign on all these guys, is the fact that they just feel it would be one thing if they were tearing it down, but they also have to offend me.
Right.
Offend Leslie Headland all you want. I don't fucking care. But when you call me a Disney shill, I'm gonna fight you.
You know, you said Disney, like you turned jizz and Disney into one word.
That word works better.
It does.
I'm gonna fight Snarky
trailer
Jane.
for episode 7 dropped, and we cried in theaters when somehow was enough of an explanation for how Palpatine returned.
That was
and
bad.
yes, our criticisms are passionate and plentiful when they need to be. For the thousands of Star Wars focused creators on YouTube, there are millions of fans all around the globe who also have their own criticisms and their own voices. They're just maybe a little more camera shy than the rest of us. And that, Kathleen, seems to be the problem here, is that because Star Wars fans are once again using their voices and now being heard en masse, we're being labeled as something we're not. The Acolyte has been stirring up Star Wars drama like it's nobody's business.
Okay, wait, hold on. I have to fucking interject. I have to interject because this is when a racist or a psychopath claims that they're doing nothing wrong. And they're like, I'm expressing myself. I'm expressing my First Amendment rights. This has nothing to do with you, people not wanting you to express yourself or anything like that. Literally, if you go on Twitter, there are lists and lists of complaints, like people saying, in episode 1, the only white man was a criminal prisoner on a prison transport. People are being like, oh, I see there are no white people in the main cast. How is that a complaint? How is that a valid complaint if you're a critic?
I mean, here's the thing, man.
This is not us oppressing them because of their freedom of speech. It's like, I don't want Snarky J, this poor Puerto Rican bitch from the Midwest, to fucking speak.
Is she Puerto Rican?
I don't know what the fuck she is. She's pretending to be. All I'm saying is, this. I love how they're pretending to be victims.
Wait, so here's the thing, man. So it seems to me that you feel as if though this is directed at us, but it seems as if though she's talking to directly Kathleen Kennedy. Is there a part of you that does not believe that?
Because she started it off. She said, this is to Kathleen Kennedy and her and the Disney shills.
So they make a distinction. Some of them make a distinction, and I'm not defending them. I'm just bringing it up because if God forbid or God willing, someone watches this and they want to critique us. So their argument would be that Disney shills would represent the critics that keep it at an 81% review and that their opinions are bought and that they have a vested interest. But I feel like I have seen that word shill extend past the critics too.
Right. I feel like it's anyone who likes it.
Yeah. So
that anyone who's wise will see that it's stupid and woke.
Oh yeah.
And anyone you're a Disney shill if you're willing to like it, because for some reason I want Disney's approval. Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not getting paid. Why would I fucking care? Maybe I just like what I like.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm saying. Out of all my critiques up until this one, I have never said someone is an idiot for having the opinion that they have.
No.
I am fine with people having their own opinions. However, these YouTubers are not fine with it.
Bro, I have called people for having an opinion. I've called them idiots. But that's my opinion. What I cannot do, or nor would I do, is remove the opportunity for them to have their opinion, which is the distinction I want to make. I can most certainly call you an idiot because you have, in my mind, an idiotic opinion. And you can call me a shill. But the minute I try to take something away from you or try to present you publicly as that, now we've stepped into the realm of, I got to back up my words, right? I have to prove your points are idiotic. So let's say in response to us, they're like, well, you're clearly a couple of MCU shills. I'm like, okay, you're Disney shills. Prove that. Would that mean that you're going to present a track record of me shilling for Disney? The best you could possibly do is me saying, like, I go see all the Marvel movies because it's how I bond with my kids. That's it. I walked out of those same movies like that was horrible. Like,
Right,
I can't believe I went to go see that. But as long as my kids have an interest and I have the opportunity to bond with them like that as a father, we're gonna go see it. Now, if I feel like I have to have a conversation about some overt messaging in the movie, I will also have that conversation because I'm gonna take it to the next level and I'm gonna call some of you people out. You don't like the message that's being presented. Does that mean you're not gonna refute it? Are you guys so weak-willed, weak-spined that you can't look your child or whomever in the eyes like, hey, man, that's what they believe. That's not what we believe. Daddy just wants to quantify that for you. That's
they don't have an argument because they have to attack people with different opinions, and I that is just stupid. That is just really dumb, and
continuing on.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't wait for this video to end.
With its outspoken Weinstein-loving creator, Leslie Headland, it's poorly...
And so, is that a valid argument? When she was a lowbrow nobody, Leslie Headland, she was his personal assistant. That's how she got into Hollywood.
Right.
Trying to connect him, it's being a bad actor. Trying to connect this lesbian liberal to Weinstein and his crimes and his griminess and his creepiness is just such a bad actor and such a bad faith move.
It is the epitome of that. It is, but
it's absolutely crazy that people do that, and they're doing that as well all over Twitter.
Well, and just to be consistent, if she hasn't, not saying that she hasn't come out and completely distanced herself publicly on record, then I really can't take her as an ally in the woke ship world.
She has absolutely done that.
We don't have to watch much more. I just want to see. I haven't watched the entire thing. I just want to see what the crux of her argument is here.
Yes.
Written scripts and its canon-breaking plot, Star Wars fans are speaking out about The Acolyte in droves. And in my perspective, the squeaky wheel always gets the grease, right? The people speak, call for change, and change happens. Whining historically has always been a great problem solver. After all, don't we very clearly live in a world where a vocal minority has a chokehold not just on corporations and brands, but on politicians, the media, and society as a whole? So
she's acting like she is Legion. She is the vocal minority.
So
these YouTubers, these nerdrotic types, they have a chokehold on the conversation.
So it's funny because Snarky J actually is going to, in many ways, lead us into something else we're talking about here tonight. Someone who talks about the vocal minority. I just want to go back and look through Snarky J's videos. So here's the thing, man. Does the LGBT community, have a stranglehold on the industry? Cannot deny that. They do, man. They got power. Does it upset me as a black man to see their advancement and how they've been able to take such control over media and get representation in ways that a lot of blacks, browns, and Asians or what have yous never will? 100%. But how much of that has to do with this show? As of right now, man, if your big argument is that it's lore breaking, which the lore breaking is just a different perspective on the Force, they didn't change that to fit. They didn't say this is what the Force is. It's literally them saying this is how they view it. We know they're wrong.
Weird witches on this random planet.
Yeah.
Right?
I treat them the same way I treat Mormons. I'm just like, okay.
But yeah, of course, different Force traditions are going to have different definitions of the Force.
Right.
Different perceptions of the Force. It's also stupid, but.
So why then, when Star Wars fans speak, are we labeled toxic? Any complaints about script, canon, performance, plot, they're all pushed away.
He says, how are you going to appeal to people with the name Snarky
Clearly, the
J?
average Star Wars fan is not the sci-fi loving nerd it once was. The average Star Wars fan is now a toxic, woman-hating, racist, old white man, crusading under the black banner of well-known Star Wars creators like The Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, and Star Wars Theory. The Star Wars fanbase surely still isn't filled with folks from different walks of life, gender identities, races, religious ideologies. Surely all the Disney Star Wars dissenters are racist, toxic old white men, and the minorities you and everybody at Disney claims to represent are all united by a diverse, hive mind that tells them that Disney Star Wars is the next best thing since sliced bread. Well, Miss Kennedy, I'm afraid to tell you that you and your criticisms of this fan base are entirely wrong. Much like how when you get married, you also marry your in-laws, when Disney acquired
What?
Star Wars in 2012, it acquired a fan base. A passionate one, so incredibly and insanely dedicated to the galaxy.
Okay, I'm done here.
There's one final critique I have. So she speaks in totality, like she speaks in absolutes, man. So the critique that the toxic, that Star Wars fandom is toxic, that's not levied against all Star Wars fans. In fact, most of the time when I hear it, it's levied against that group, which is the toxic Star Wars fan base. In fact, some might say the word toxic qualifies it as that specific group. Like, y'all are being put in a bubble. Obviously, movies make billions of dollars and they appreciate those people. And I'm not saying that people can't have their own opinions. It's just, stop pretending as if, okay, what is the sum total of your goal here? Right? So during the civil rights movement, the sum total was to have equal rights, to be treated as human beings. Does this vocal minority that she just referred to themselves as, do they think that at the end of this pleading and critiquing and not calling out bullshit when bullshit is bullshit, even on their side, do you think that this is going to end with them turning it back over to George Lucas? Like, do you think
I mean, that will never happen. George Lucas, he doesn't have the. You know what's funny? He doesn't have the money to buy it back. You know why? He got $4 billion for the Star Wars, and he gave $3 billion of it away to charity.
Ooh, idiot!
Are you kidding me? He's a fucking Chad. He's a Chad. He's a lovely man. What a great dude. But now he doesn't. Now he's not rich enough to buy it back.
But what's the more likely outcome? Now, I would respect someone who would say, hey, man, I would be completely fine if Disney said, it's not worth it. We're tapping out. We'll never make another Star Wars film again. I can respect that. That's a viewpoint. I'd be like, yo, that's gangster. Good on you. What do they think is going to happen? That's what I want to ask some of these folks.
And that, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's the funny thing is that, like, this is the Star Wars we're getting. It's kind of like what you say to me about the plots when I'm theory crafting and I'm like, I bet this happens. You're like, you just need to let the story go where it's going to go. You know why? It's the story that we're going to get. Me bitching, I don't really bitch, but let's say it did. Me bitching isn't going to rewrite time and rewrite the story.
Right.
No one's going to later on rewrite it and spend another $180 million remaking it so it's better. No, you know what I mean? And so we should accept it. We don't have to like it. Don't get me wrong. We don't have to like it. But you're right. What do they think? Do they think I think Star Wars Theory, who is a well-intentioned.
I love that dude, man. I'm going to keep it a bean.
I think he's well-intentioned. He's a little naive. I think deep down in his very, focused mind, he thinks that it will somehow go back to Lucas, or somehow they're going to hire Lucas, as if Lucas has any interest in writing for a fan base that's going to attack him if he doesn't do the perfect thing.
And he has been attacked. He has been lambasted before. And also, I guess the other viewpoint would be they start making stuff that the fans want to see again. Well, how do we know? Anyway,
they don't know what they want to see. Yo, look at the range of shit we've got.
Right.
We've gotten campy fan fiction Star Wars like Ahsoka. We've gotten hardcore realistic spy thriller Andor. We've got once again fan favorite Boba Fett being an idiot, Boba Fett for kids, right?
Right.
We've got this for the lesbians, for the space lesbians and shit. We've got so much a range of Star Wars, and these guys don't like any of it.
So I am going to say something, man. So I went to go check her channel, man, because again, I always like some of this stuff I like to watch with you and just not have a preconceived notion. So her earliest video that I see on her channel is from 2 years ago, and it is a Boba Fett video. So in going through it really quickly, her content has largely been about nerdom and fandom. So she's not just some conservative.
Yeah, she's always. I already knew about her or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but here's what I'm saying. I don't know anything about her, but I do say that I do believe there is a lot of money to be made
100%.
by riding the nerdrotic Ryan Kinnell hater train.
That's absolutely true. And
by
yes.
immediately trashing something rather than giving it the likes. There is a certain group of people who gravitate to the hate and hyper criticism.
Yeah,
And so I don't need any more of it in my life. I prefer people who are more discerning about what they critique. And for instance, like Screen Crush, he'll invite other creators on and they will have an honest conversation. And there's sometimes someone on a show will be like, I don't like this. Yo, there was a dude on a show who said he didn't like X-Men 97. I was like, but he was one of 4 people on a panel.
Right.
But you know what? I respect it because you know what? He had his reasons.
Yeah, logical reasons, I'm sure.
Logical reasons. They were discussing it like civilized people. That's what I want to see. I don't need a Nerdrotic and 20 of his clones repeating the same video. Snarky J is just Nerdrotic with tits.
So here's the thing, man. I think people as a whole are just looking to go somewhere and hear opinions where they can just have a good time or even get an objective opinion, man, and it not be guilty of the very same thing that it is accusing the property it hates of. That's where I jump off the train. When your objectivity just becomes a talking point, and I realize that now I can't even discern whether or not your talking point is a grift, I'm out. You and I could agree on a bunch of stuff. But once I start thinking you're just here to make money, it's not really about the ethics of reporting. I don't need you. I'll report on you, but I won't click on your videos for any other reason than let me see what the psycho's saying. Moving right along, where do you want to get to next, my brother?
Well, because we're already an hour in, and I think that it is time that we discuss the big story that everyone who's sick of talking about the Acolyte is now moving to this other conversation. Now, this conversation is many years in the making. As a matter of fact, this conversation predates even me and you's show, the Fanboy Modeling School. You were on some other 2-bit live stream talking about it back in the day when you were a nobody.
Right.
Before you came and played in the major leagues with the Fat Mantis.
Right.
I am, of course, talking about the drama with Dr. Disrespect and Twitch. Now, I love it. I'm going to call it right here. Steve is the man. Because he has for years, like every month, I'd say give it once a month. Steve would say, "Look at me on this stream. You could look at our old recordings," and he would say, "But I'm still want to know why was Dr. Disrespect removed from Twitch?" And I got tired of it. I was like, "I don't know, bro. I don't just move on, just move on." Steve wouldn't let it go. He's like an obsessed reporter trying to figure out, get to the truth. He needs to get to the truth. Finally, the truth is revealed.
Yeah, and what a truth it is, man. And shout out to the guy who runs Geeks and Gamers, man. I like him. He really is very, very objective, right? He is objective. I just want to make sure I say that in lieu of everything we just said about the critiques of Acolyte. Jeremy, is that his name? Jeremy,
yeah.
Jeremy, I'm going to give you the biggest props, man. You are the only reason I tune into your channel. Period, point blank, man. You have contributors on there that I just
his crew, his people.
I can't deal with them. But if I see your face in the video, I'm like, all right, let me go see what this guy has to say. And when the Dr. Disrespect thing came up, he literally pointed out the fact that, hey, we don't know what's going on yet. As of right now, it appears to me that someone said something. So once upon a time when the whole Dr. Disrespect story broke, there were some reporters, or if you want to call them that, I call them people on Twitter who said that they know.
Nowadays, everyone thinks they're a reporter.
Everyone thinks they're a journalist. Said I
have an Instagram account. I'm a reporter.
Yeah. I know. I got an insider. Like, who's your fucking insider? They had said that they know the exact reason that Dr. Disrespect had gotten banned from Twitch. Well, turns out that one of them might be right. So in a very weird turn of events, just yesterday, I'm watching this whole thing unfold in real time. And this guy who's a contributor, I don't want to say his name because fuck him, was basically like, hey, if I have these 3 shows fill up, I'll tell you exactly what Dr. Disrespect did if these 3 events that I'm speaking at. And then, boom, he drops the bombshell. He got banned for speaking to underage minors on Twitch Whisper. And then Dr. Disrespect responded to that tweet, or what do you call it if it's X now? If it's a tweet when it was Twitter, what is it called?
It's still tweet. He tried to make them zeets.
Okay.
But that didn't work. He renamed them Zeets for a little while, but people hated that, and then he went back to tweets.
Okay, so this person,
But he actually had the saying, "Would you like to Zeet with an X or whatever?" It was stupid.
So
It was
this
not well thought.
Dr. Disrespect responded like, "This is the internet. I feel like I don't have to respond to this. Here's what happened. I got paid. I moved on, and that's it." And apparently that wasn't it, man. And in almost an eerie way, the same way it went down almost 4 years now ago, Mantis. During his last stream, Elden Ring stream, Dr. Disrespect starts talking in a very ethereal way about the future and the channel and what he wants to do. And it appears that he looks down at his phone, gets a message, just like it happened before. And then he starts talking about stepping away from his gaming company, starts talking about doing something else, and that's it. And then today, the open letter was pinned. Take it from there, bro.
Absolutely. So I have it up right now. And so I have his comment. And so here's the first aspect of it for the people who are not following along and don't understand. Like, I think it's like it might be, was it 2017? No, that's too early. It's like 2019.
28, something, yeah.
Yeah, where Dr. Disrespect was asked to step down from his role on Twitch. He was one of the top Twitch streamers.
Right.
And they had to cash in his contract. They had to pay him. He was leaving, and the rumor was it had something to do with his wife. Now, the first rumors were that he was loose with his hands, and maybe he beat his wife. Do you remember that when that was the rumor?
Yeah.
And however, unsubstantiated, people don't understand what's going on. And for years we didn't know. And he was streaming after that. He still remained a top dog. He literally Call of Duty made a skin based on his outfit that he streams on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I gotta say, just a real quick funny joke. As of last week, for those who are boys fans, people say that the Firecracker skin on Call of Duty, Firecracker makes history as the first pedophile to have a skin on Call of Duty. Now people are saying she's no longer has that record because now they have the skin of both Dr. Disrespect and her.
Yeah, and here's the crazy thing, man. I've always maintained if he did something wrong, then he did something wrong. If he didn't do anything wrong, then he didn't do anything wrong. So this is where it gets complex, right? But right is right and wrong is wrong. So the thing about it is Dr. Disrespect admitted to some stuff, man.
Yeah,
and
I have his statement right up in front of me.
You want to put it up, bro?
Yeah. And so... No, I'm gonna get personal. I'm sorry, brother. You look really bummed that
I am bummed because obviously this is not the outcome I wanted. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, man, it's like, okay. So here we have the truth finally, or a version of the truth, or just the truth as it were. And like anyone else, I have to accept it, and it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I wanted this dude to have just been fucked over by Twitch because originally one of the things that happened when the whole thing went down was the whole Ninja and Shroud situation, right? They went over to Microsoft's now debunked and failed.
Was it Mixer?
Mixer thing.
What a bad name! What a bad name for a game.
But you know what, man? Shout out to the Mixer community when it existed, man. They were some of the most welcoming people. Yo, bro, I went into a stream that had 1,000 people in it, and the guy popped. As soon as I popped in, he's like, "Hey, what's up, Hold Up TV, man? Thanks for coming in, bro." It's 1,000 of us in here. We're just chilling, playing. So,
are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Every time I went to a stream, whether it was 1,000, 600, or what have you, I got
never seen that before.
I streamed on there a couple of times, man. Had people come in and support, and it was just like great stuff. But originally, another narrative was Dr. Disrespect was trying to stranglehold Twitch into a better contract and that stuff. So
there was a lot of that, and that still goes on. But that was the thing, right? That these top streamers were like, you know what? Fuck Twitch. They were trying to mutiny from Twitch was the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And so finally, the reason why it got revealed recently is because
his gaming company, Midnight.
But I'm saying, wasn't it that some sort of insider who worked there was like,
yeah, that's what I was saying in the beginning. That's what I was saying in the beginning. But again, I don't want to give those people too much credit because, again, like, where's your journalistic integrity if you're saying if this show feels
professional integrity? Because you know what I heard he said? He's like a comedian. He's like a stand-up comedian. And he said, if my show sells out,
Yeah.
I'll reveal what he did. And of course, he's doing this for like ticket sales. I mean, what, like,
Yeah, that's literally what I said at the onset of this. So I want to
Right.
read the statement here.
I was just recapping. I knew you said it. I was
No, no.
like, trying to recap.
I want to read the statement here. The Twitch
Okay.
brand. This is from Dr. Disrespect. Hello. I'd like to make a quick statement. Let's cut the fucking bullshit. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about. And I'm always willing to accept responsibility, which is why I'm here now. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community as well as those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society, because Midnight Society came out and made a statement separating themselves from Dr. Disrespect. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families, and I never want to jeopardize the culture we have carefully crafted. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch whispers messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. And there it is, folks. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures were shared. No crimes were committed. I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and the case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear. It was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me. Now, from a moral standpoint, I absolutely take responsibility. I should have never entertained these conversations to begin with. That's on me. That's on me as an adult, a husband, and a father. It should have never happened. I get it. I'm not perfect, and I'll fucking own my shit. This was stupid. Now, with all that said, don't get fucking mistaken. I've seen all the remarks and labels being thrown around so loosely. Social media is a destruction zone. I'm no fucking predator or pedophile. Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me fucking knows where I stand on those things with those type of people. Fuck that. That's a different level of disgust that I fucking hate even hearing about. Don't be labeling me as the worst of the worst with your exaggerations. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But I think I've said what I've needed to say regarding the ban itself. That's it. That's why Twitch made the decision in 2020. So exactly 4 years. That's why they made the decision in 2020. To my team, community, industry friends that have supported me, I apologize. I wish I could have said all this sooner. You guys have always showed me and my family love and support throughout all these years. We love you guys like you can't imagine. I have the fucking best community and circle. If any of this has made you uncomfortable, I get it. You don't have to support me anymore, but just know you have always been greatly appreciated. But trust me when I say to all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero real life experience, I don't give a fuck about you. Finally, if you're uncomfortable with this entire statement and think I'm a piece of shit, that's fine. But I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm not the same guy that made this mistake all those years ago. I'm taking extended vacation with my family, as mentioned on stream, and I'm coming back with a heavy weight off my shoulders. They want me to disappear. You fucking right.
Yeah, so I gotta say this. First thing I'm gonna say, sounds like he's gonna go to Kick. He's gonna get the Kick contract, and no doubt, because you can be a pedo on Kick, and not a problem these days. But here's what I'm saying: he has admitted to inappropriate conversation. Once again, what is inappropriate? I need to know. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
What's up, D?
Right?
Yes, D. Yes, he was married when this happened, and go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, the whole thing about the rumor that the wife was involved.
No, I didn't hear this part.
So apparently, how she got involved in the first rumor, when the people are like, "Did he beat his wife?" Because she was involved in the first rumor years ago. She apparently would go through his phone, find the girls he was texting with, and then start speaking as herself and be like, I'm his wife. You're a whore. Stop texting my husband and all this shit. And so this is allegedly what happened. This is one of
Right.
the rumors going around right now. And she stuck with him, and they're still together. And God bless them and their relationship. And I hope they make it through this. But that's
Right.
not good, man. That is not good when your wife is going through your phone, having to tell your fans to fuck off and stop flirting with her husband.
And then, of course, there's the infidelity. So the first controversy with Dr. Disrespect was he cheated on his wife at some type of streaming event with a young lady, and he took time off from that. And then his famous return to streaming was his wife on his shoulders with a knife to his throat, and him acknowledging everything again publicly what happened. So she chose to stay with him. That's her decision. Boom. This is sad, though, man. It's sad on many, many levels because, as he pointed out, so many people came to his defense publicly. People supported him, and a part of me wishes that he would have been like, hey guys, don't worry about me, and just taking the time off. Like, that would have been the smart thing to do, because then you don't give your enemies any room to sit around. Because let's be real, man, the former Twitch employees that are pretending to be journalists, this is what they needed to do to stay relevant. Right? This is what they needed to do, stay relevant. And again, I'm not making them out to be villains, but the fact of the matter is I haven't heard anything from them. So I wish he would have just bowed out. I really do. I wish he would have just bowed out.
What's really annoying? Like, somebody was like, yo, Brett Cooper spoke about the whole Dr. Disrespect thing. I didn't know she covered gaming. And I was like, she doesn't.
No.
Everyone is covering this, even people who have no business doing it. They know nothing about it. They're not hip to the scene. This is the hot story that everyone is jumping on.
Right. And here I'm going to be responsible. Do I agree with what happened? No, man. Is it finally over? And this is why I kept saying, man, either something unjust has just happened in front of us, and I watched a man lose his entire career potentially behind Twitch's greed, or he did something. I just wanted to know, man, because I don't think I ever publicly came out in his defense. I was like, it appears that this was a cash.
How could
grab.
you have? You didn't know.
I didn't know, man. I didn't know, but now that we know, and it's funny, man. One of our former viewers and still sometime current viewers, Klima, commented, and he's a hardcore Dr. Disrespect fan. I looked on Facebook and saw his response to it, and knowing that he was such a fan, man, and then having to deal with this, it sucks, bro. It sucks being someone's fan and they're caught up in this type of controversy. 100%.
So then there's the whole abandonment from friends shit. And have you heard about this aspect?
No.
So, the one I know is Nick Merckx, right? And so there's Nick Merckx, and then there's a bunch of other people. People have asked them to comment, and at least in Nick Merckx and a couple other guys who were known to be like really close to him, they referred to him as a guy I game with, rather than super defenso. And so here's the thing: last year, Nick Merckx was being driven, like canceled, because he had certain opinions about trans pride and its effect on children, and he was like, leave children alone.
Right.
And Dr. Disrespect famously was like, lay off my friend. He's like, he's my buddy, he's cool, fuck you, and all this, and he had his back 100%.
Right.
And now it is not being reciprocated. Everyone's trying to distance themselves from him.
Which is to be expected, man. If we're being honest, man, when you're calling, this is the allegation that there is no coming back from, right? Unless, I mean, we were just talking about Kevin Spacey the other day, man, and he's been proven innocent, and there's still no coming back from him. I understand why they're distancing themselves from them, but at the end of the day, too, man. Here's the thing about it, right? You're my friend, right? And there's some people who come to this show that I would consider friends, but I don't trust people I don't know, I don't have history with, you know what I'm saying? And my expectation, if I'm in Dr. Disrespect's position, he had to have known that this was going to be, like, when you have that level of weight on your shoulders, he had to know this was going to be the deal breaker, man. And I'm not putting a nail in. I love Dr. Disrespect. I want to make sure I'm being heard correctly. I'm not shitting on him. I'm not putting the nail in his coffin. I just wished before you had people championing for you and stepping up for you, there were people who could have kind of been said that they left Twitch, and him not being on Twitch was one of the it was a catalyst for them leaving or becoming aware of what a bullshit platform it was.
Are you kidding me? I honestly believe him getting kicked out of it was what created Kick.
Right.
I really think it did.
I mean, did I say Kick? I meant to say Twitch. But here's the thing, man. Like, a part of me just wishes that he would have been like, yo, hit me up on the side, like, hey, Steve, Roy, I appreciate you guys coming through. There's a story to this. I want to protect your brand. Stay out of it. You would get a message like that from me. You would get a message like that.
Yes, right. To be honest, however, I would never forsake you. Are you kidding me?
I know that. Also, I would not be in this situation.
Right, but God forbid you were. I would never be like, yeah, Steve, I only kind of stream with him. I mean, we do Fanboy Modeling School. We don't really know each other. I would never fucking distance myself from you. That's crazy. I would have been like, you don't have evidence. Bring him to court. If you don't like that, shut the fuck up.
So since you bring it up, then there's this part of it, man. Dr. Disrespect is not sending this message via his representatives while he's in jail. Here's something that y'all are gonna have to deal with. It doesn't make it right, but apparently nothing criminal was said or done. That's a hard pill to swallow.
No, it's not that hard. So, for those who know, I'll give you an example. In the tri-state area where we reside, if I were to go call a 15-year-old and I would just say, "What up, mama? You want to grab a milkshake? Meet me on the corner of blah, blah, blah." That's not a crime. Even if I meet up with her, that's not a crime.
Mm.
You need either for me to say sexual things, or sexual things have to happen for any crime to be. And so if you've ever watched Dateline, what was the Chris Hansen show? Chris Hansen, the guy who would To Catch a Predator. There we go. If you notice, they had to let a lot of them go, because if they didn't in the text specifically say they were meeting up for sex, they had to let them go. And that doesn't make it all right. I'm not justifying that. I'm not saying, hey guys who were 35, talk to your 15-year-olds, just don't say anything sexy and you'll be good. No, fuck that. Obviously it's shady meeting up with a 15-year-old.
Right.
I'm not justifying it, but it is criminal. But once again, just because it's not criminal doesn't mean that person
there
gets a pass, right?
You see that uncomfortability, because sometimes the truth doesn't absolve you. It's just the truth, right? It's just the truth. And the truth is, he did have messages that he deemed himself as inappropriate with a minor. None of them were apparently horrible enough to be considered criminal. They were just inappropriate. And I wish that he would never have done that.
Right, and D says, big example, Ashton Kutcher. Now, I don't know all the details, but I do remember this kind of scandal coming around, that he was like that with his fans. And I think his wife right now, actually with his wife, she was a minor. She was a couple of years younger than him. And so he was like dating her and doing all sorts of things. So there was a question of this. Defending Danny Masterson. That's right. So both Ashton Kutcher and his wife defended Dan, and that was a bad look for them. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Danny Masterson's worse because Danny Masterson was a rapist. A grapeist. Damn, no, that is messed up. However, I honestly don't think I certainly would never forsake Steve. My other, I don't know, man. My other streamer buddies, I don't see myself forsaking them. I don't see myself forsaking Matt Cat or Derek or Vic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't do it. Just because unpopularity comes their way, I just could not turn my back on them. I know they're good people. Am I naive? Am I an idiot? I don't know. Mantis is a real one. Thank you so much, D. That means a lot to me. But like, I just can't see myself turning my back on my peoples like that. I understand. Like, for instance, my streaming life is not worth millions of dollars. Nick Merckx is. However, I have to say, when Nick Merckx was being canceled for supposed transphobia, here's what it was. Nick Merckx was used to have like a liberal opinion of things, right? So, Nick Merckx used to say, I have a liberal opinion, everything's good. But when he had a child, he finally said, well, I have a child now and I see the world in a different place, and I want people to stop trying to groom children, stop trying to bring sexuality into children's lives. And he said this very publicly. And so everyone tried to cancel him, and Dr. Disrespect, being a good friend, had his back. And it kind of breaks my heart that Nick Merckx now refers to him as a guy I used to game with.
Yeah. Again, the feeling I have right now, man, is so this is gonna sound corny. At the age of 43, I look up to Dr. Disrespect in regards to a content creator, man. He's everything where it's like, in spite of all reasons to fail, the man has succeeded with a character that's outlasted and just done things. One of my favorite Dr. Disrespect videos is when he's watching someone cheat in PUBG. And it's quite possibly one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. His commentary always makes me laugh. Just like with the Cosby shit, man. This is a little different than the Cosby shit, but similar.
I feel you.
A fall from grace, and it's just like, bam. So with that said, and then moving right along, I wish him and his family the best. If there are victims, or to the participant or person that was receiving the messages, if they suffered any undue harm, I wish them the best. And yeah. Now, you vampire ass motherfuckers who are going to make a lot of money, because I'm not going to cover this shit again unless there's some
right. There's a new turn.
To you vampire motherfuckers that want to present yourselves as journalists and all that shit, good for you. You called this one correctly, but you did it to fill up a show, and that makes you a bitch.
And so let's recap on what's going on with these people. Like, for instance, Quartering and Rick Hooper immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was a conspiracy theory. Quartering literally said it's because he's a conservative and he's MAGA that they're trying to bring him down. And I was like, okay, bro, you're being a little, you don't really know what's happening, but he completely has his back to the point where it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so Brett Cooper also had this whole take where she was just like, she's pointing at, she's like, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And I'm like, he admitted it in his statement.
Okay.
Right? Didn't he admit it in his statement?
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
So Brett Cooper, when she covered Dr. Disrespect, she was like, they're railroading him because he's a conservative and like all this stuff like that. But I'm like, he admitted it in his statement.
Right. Okay. I didn't watch all of Brett Cooper's response. I got to tell you, man, you're the only person I'm talking to about this shit, because that's how bummed out I am.
Right.
I'm a little
bummed out.
I understand the where the quartering's coming from, because it is the perfect narrative, and if you're sincere about it, like, yeah, they're just doing this because he took a stance with someone that had a less than liberal stance in Nick Merckx. The fact of the matter is, I got to be consistent. He acknowledged what he did. This has nothing to do with his political leanings. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm sure we can spin this somehow to the acolyte. Well, what's her face should step down too, because she was this dude's assistant. Yeah, but until we find out she was feeding women to this motherfucker,
feeding children to Moloch so she can gain advantage here in the mortal realms.
Right.
Which I honestly feel like they're implying or whatever, but like, it's all messed up.
Sad,
everyone's
man.
hurt. All these things.
It's sad, man. But you know what, man? We got to move on. We got to move on to what I really actually. Let's bring it to something that's happy, man. And because we can only talk about this for so long, man. Mantis, huck to a girl.
My queen. My queen.
Yo, there is something disgusting and wholesome about this video at the same time.
That is such a well said. She's wholesome. She's the wife you want. She talks like that on the street. Kind of shady, but I'm into it.
The crazy part is, man, if you don't know who the Hawk Tour girl is, I'll kill some time until Mantis gets the video up. But she's a young lady that's completely taken over the internet. Well, some people might call, as I just described it, the most wholesome and disgusting thing they've ever seen at the same time. And she literally has won the hearts over because it seems as if, though, she is addressing the perfect way to bring the red pill to their knees. Pun intended, man. There's a trend that exists now where young men with video cameras walk around talking to inebriated girls, asking them questions. The young lady in question was asked 2 questions. 1, how do you get over a breakup? And she replied with her deep Southern accent. She was asked 3 questions. My bad. The first question was, what's your body count? And she's like, the only one that matters is my Pookie. I love you, babe, forever. And I was just like, oh, how sweet.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
Second question, how do you get over a breakup? And she's like, the only way to get over one is to get under a new one. Got to have someone knock the cobwebs off this thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, oh, how sweet, how endearing. I think I'm going to throw up. That's kind of gross too, but it's true. Who hasn't heard that term? And then she famously said, what has captured the entire imagination of the internet? Hit play, brother.
Okay, guys, check this out.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spread on that thing.
Please get a ticket to wherever the hell that is.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spread on that thing.
Now here's what it is, and I know a lot of people will look at this and be like, she's just some drunk Southern girl. That, there are a dime a dozen. It was Nashville, Tennessee, where this was taken. However, the thing is that she has captured the hearts and imaginations of everyone.
Yeah.
They have literally created superhero memes of her. People, she is blowing up in terms of memes. Like, she's dominating the internet. And all I want to know from our fan base and our chat is, do you do the hawk tua?
The memes are amazing. There's one, if she don't hawk tua, I don't talk tua. There's hawk tua down.
There's one with her where they took out the background and they had the Jurassic Park, the dinosaur that spits acid.
Yeah.
And they have it spitting while she's saying it.
Bro.
It's so funny, man.
Now, in a bid to be consistent here, I don't know if my good friend Bex is still in here. Bex would probably say, Steve, if this was a black woman saying this shit, you'd have all types of moral and ethic. No, I wouldn't. If she had that same accent, that same Southern presence, and she was like, hawk to her, like, I'd be like, God bless her heart. God bless her heart.
So obviously, they go on the strip where all the bars are. So it's obvious if you watch her to speak, this girl is obviously inebriated and all this stuff.
Yeah.
She's just having fun. She's being honest. She apparently is married. And all is well in their relationship. So she's,
what's crazy is the internet is doing their best job to find her. And like, they can't get her, man. Like, they're like, man, this girl needs an OnlyFans. And I think that would cheapen the whole thing. This should go down in history as just a moment of amazingness on the internet. Well,
and
one woman dared to speak the truth.
Right. This is what's wrong with everything. Our society. They want to instantly give an OnlyFans to every girl who slightly does anything sexual. Why can't this woman just be a private citizen? Why do you have to turn her into a porn star? This is some satanic. Honestly, I really do believe it's some satanic shit.
So here's one thing that I found interesting. So when I sent you and Shaolin the video, the next thing I saw was a video from a guy who's like, women don't understand why men are responding so positively to this girl. And it's not just because she's a whore. It's because she's funny and she's got a personality. And he's like, and if you're funny and you got a personality, all those other bitches can just forget about it. And I'm like, oh man, is that it? Is it because like, this is hilarious? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're going to talk about a woman who's apparently not even a wife to be considered a trad wife, and there's nothing cute coming out of her mouth or going in it.
So basically, our chick of the week is Haktua Girl, and our hoe of the week is this next bitch we're about to show you.
Oh, this is the perfect example of the grift gone wrong, man.
The grift gone terribly wrong.
Got to be careful when you get into these political commentary streets, man. Talking about the black community, you played your part perfectly. Well, in case you didn't know, folks, when you start leaning into the alt-right and shrugging, you are writing a check, and they're going to cash it, and that means they're going to check out your history to make sure that you're one of them. Apparently, racists really like to vet their new members.
Sorry.
No problem, man.
So this is weird. So in terms of researching this chick, everyone is telling me that she has a mixed race baby, aka a mulatto, just like me, a light skin. She has a light skin. And you know what? I've seen this in the South. So much. These women think that just because they're banging a black dude, they suddenly can use the N-word.
Right.
Which they can't. Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree with that. We can't even race play that shit.
That's totally ridiculous. But let's see what this chick has to say.
Losers, guess what? America is sick of this bullshit. We gotta start fighting fire.
So before we go any further, for those who don't know, this is a trad wife TikToker who really didn't have a lot of fans. Not a lot of people were interested in her until she notoriously did a video where she said all of her female friends were married to broke ass N-words.
Yeah.
And she said it with no problem. White girl. Look at this white girl.
Yeah. And here's the
white girl.
To be a trad wife, 1, you have to be married. 2, you have to be in a traditional role, and she had her own job. 3, what's going to be really interesting is that people did find her mixed race child who's of Arabic, half Arabic descent, apparently.
Oh, it's not even black.
No, and 4, the reason that the America First community is kind of coming after her, or whatever group it is because apparently she had a nose job and they think she's a psyop for the Jewish community. But this is what happens when you cozy up to crazy people, right?
The fact that I'm laughing and clapping is not some sort of commentary on Jewishness. It's just funny that people are like, she had a nose job. She must be a secret Jew. That's totally insane. But it's totally funny that like she does her child isn't even black, so I don't even know where she gets off saying this.
Right.
But like also this is also a thing that like every community gets infiltrated from people who don't belong. And so clearly she does not belong in the trad wife space, but like you said, she tried to sneak in. She tried to play it off. She's not even married.
No. And here's the next thing, man. She takes some shots at your girl, Brett Cooper, and at the Daily Wire because they came out, like I said last week, and they had a critique of this woman because I think that some of the people on the right don't want to be associated with the less than strong argument. They want to convert people to a conservative viewpoint. They don't want to convert people to a crazy viewpoint. And the weakest argument on the conservative side would be the crazies, right? We have to agree that there are crazy people on both sides. Obviously, the ones on the left with the purple hair talking about you can be whatever you want,
they're the most crazy.
They're crazy. And then you have the outright racist, right? You have the outright racist who have infiltrated or have always been present in the conservative movement. And these are the same people who have utterly rejected her and referred to her as a side Jewish op. It's not the wokies coming after her, Mantis. It's that group that the conservatives like to pretend like they don't exist. In fact, it's the group that Ben Shapiro famously said in a quote, Trump winked and nodded at the alt-right.
Oh, brother.
Go ahead.
Real quick, referring to our last story, RM says if Hassan Piker chatted inappropriately with a minor, Brett and Quartering would love to attack him. I agree.
Oh,
obviously, they would.
They'd be on that shit.
There's no question of that. But
they'd be on that.
With fire, all your nice little essays, all your nice Daily Wire and milquetoast approach to politics has not helped us for shit.
I want to know, do you guys agree with her or do you not agree with her? There's a lot of people in the movement that are like, they cannot stand this girl Lily. And then there's people that say they love her to death. Where do you stand?
Okay, and in regards to Officer Tatum here.
Yeah.
He is an interesting character. Obviously, right now, he's having a bit of a schism, or it appears he's having a bit of a schism with the Daily Wire and not mainstream, but the popular conservative commentary community on behalf of his best friend, homegirl, his sister, as he calls her, Candace Owens, right?
Owens, yeah.
So what he's doing here is called the perfect pivot and sway, right? He's like not endorsing her. He's going to go as far as to say, I wish I could help her clean up her image, right? So her message would be more palatable to people. But that's because he's on the outs with the Daily Wire on behalf of his homegirl. And you know what? Shout out to him for being willing to stick up for Candace Owens. But the fact of the matter is, this bitch is dumb, right? And I do understand that when she said nigga, she meant it in jest, right? She meant broke ass niggas. But what she did afterwards, you know, come on, bro.
Here's what I'm saying. White, even if a white person means it in jest, no.
No.
I will say this, that like, and once again, I like Brett Cooper for who she is. However, Brett Cooper always said that Candace Owens was like an older sister to her, and she even had a segment on her show where her and Candace Owens would be getting their makeup done by the makeup people, and they were chatting back and forth, and you'd film it and put it online. And she was like, I love Candace Owens. She's so great. She's so great. Since Candace Owens leaving, not a word. Not a word. Why? Because Brett wants to keep her job, right?
Exactly.
And so I know we're all not heroes. Not everyone is a hero, but I just want to put that out there because I kept waiting for her to make a comment. And I got to say, you know, Michael Knowles, who is the godfather of Candace's child, did make a comment on his show, and he's Daily Wire.
Yeah.
And he at least made a statement about it. And so it was relatively neutral. However, I do think we're owed one from Brett, who claimed she's her older sister and mentor. Right.
Here's what your boy Steve has been saying 100%. I believe 50% of what these people are saying, because I know that the other 50% is to monetize, galvanize, and keep their audience, right?
Right.
They're not actively out in the streets trying to convert people. And I still, not even used to, I hold the same opinion of Candace Owens. You want to win black people to conservative vote, you know, you need to go where the black people are, right? And she started doing that. You need to go to where the black people are and start sharing your message amongst them. That's how black people will respond to your message, right? Now, unless you're Trump, then that is still the weirdest shit ever. Like, to see how many black people have been galvanized to him being prosecuted is absolutely amazing to me. But this bitch right here, right? This bitch is a product of fuck around and find out.
By the way, you know how I found her?
How?
Because I didn't remember her name. I was with this bitch's name, and I said the N-word girl. Boom, 1 million hits.
Bro,
that's what she's known as. Imagine a white bitch known as the N-word girl.
And here's the thing about it, right, man? We don't have to watch the Amazing Lucas one, but I suggest you folks go watch it. She went on a tour after saying that, you know, thank you, black people, for helping me launch my career in conservative commentary, right? Then she made the whole comment about black people being puppets. She went on a tour and she had choice things to say about some of the most popular conservative movements like Turning Point and America First. And the reason why she has smoke for Brett Cooper is because she made a video where she says we need to take back power from the theater kids that grew up. And Brett Cooper said, I understand what she's saying. I was one of those theater kids, but that's all Brett Cooper said. So she's not even intelligent enough to respond to what was actually said, which know is one of my huge. I cannot stand that. Let your critique be in response to that.
Yo, my man. I honestly think this woman's going to disappear within a month. But I will say this: if you're expecting intelligent commentary from this woman, from what I've seen of her videos, you are not going to find it. This girl right here, Lily or whatever the fuck she calls herself. She is not intelligent. She doesn't keep it real, and she doesn't stay on topic. She says scandalous things in hopes that makes her famous.
100%. 100%.
And so D says, yes, Mantis, thank you. That's been bothering me too. I tend to skip her videos now talking about Brett Cooper. Wow. Matt Cat, welcome in, brother. Hail to the chat. He says, Matt Cat, hello, Mantis and Steve. Yeah, I don't care about this woman. She's already won and done. Yeah, she's done. However, we have to talk about it. So let's see what this woman
that she's willing to listen to, that can kind of coach her into being able to express her ideas in a way with a level of decorum so that her voice can be heard in a lot more of a broader sense.
So, real quick, I want to point out something I like about Officer Tatum. So a lot of people will say he's a sellout. He's not. He is black. However, he's a former cop. That's why he calls himself Officer Tatum. He was a cop for years. He understands about the legal system and all these things. And people sometimes get mad at him because sometimes he's wrathful and he's angry, yet he's a Christian. And he does the same things that me and Steve do, and all of us do. He's a Christian who's flawed and makes the same mistakes we do. And sometimes, like, you know, when we have wrath on our tongue, we're like, damn it, F this person, blah, blah, blah. That's not a Christian way to do it. And so, yet we all do it. And we have to realize, we have to take a moment and say, I realize that what I'm doing, I'm misbehaving. The devil has my tongue, stuff like that. And so that's why I love Officer Tatum, because he is the gospel in reality. He's trying, as all of us are, instead of pretending to be the perfect Christian, he's trying to be a Christian, but he's flawed just like all of us, which is why a lot of times he criticizes the crap out of people. He criticizes people so bad that I'm like, that is a sinful attack, brother. Relax. However, sometimes we can't relax.
Yeah, and also he denies the Trinity. So there's that.
Wait, does he really? Wait, does he really?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's a Trinity denier.
So he's a Mormon.
He's a oneness. He's a not oneness. I forget the exact term.
A hippie. A fucking hippie. A hippie's like, well, I don't know. 1 and 9, we're all the same. It doesn't really matter. It matters, bro. Wait, are you serious right now? Because
I'm serious, man. I can pull it up right now if you want me to.
We don't. You know, obviously we don't need to. We need to talk about this bitch right here. But we'll do a future episode.
Yeah, he denies the Trinity, man. I was
might as well be a freaking Mormon.
Bro, I was in one of his streams one night, man, and I actually paid $5 to post in his chat like, hey, man, would love to hear your thoughts on the Trinity. And he looked at it and just kept it moving.
Oh, he took your money. He stole your money and ran. Just like a cop. Just like a cop who runs your pockets at the stoplight.
Yeah, he's had multiple debates about the Trinity on IG, on YouTube. Yeah.
And the Daily Wire backs is full. Okay.
Well, I mean, the Daily Wire's comprised of people and owned by a person who denies the divinity and the messianic right of Jesus. So
yeah, I mean, he literally thinks saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic or whatever, which is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
But let's see what the N-word girl has to say.
And I'm sure she'll agree with me if she saw this video, because she did not collect enough thoughts.
I'm jumping over.
But when you are any of my videos,
now that I know he's a Trinity,
I blew up on somebody on the internet. Anyway, I'm gonna let this clip play, and I want to know if you guys agree with it or not. She kind of get on Daily Wire and supports Candace in this clip. Roll the clip.
So it should be no surprise to you that my Twitter or my TikTok post about the nerds and the dorks in high school, that's the one that blew up, and that's the one that triggered so many people. That's why everybody.
But by the way, I'm going to say this before she goes any further. Because of comments like that, I don't think she's going to go far. I think we're going to forget about her in a month. No. And she thinks she's got a new career or whatever. But the thing is, she's too aggressive about everybody.
Yeah.
She's a judgmental bitch.
Here's the thing, man. It's lowbrow commentary, but I think she can find a base. There's still time for her to pivot on this, man. It's just like Tatum says, she needs some coaching, but I don't think she respects anyone enough to take that coaching from them.
So I'll say this, like, look at Michael Knowles, look at who's the internet dad? I forget his name.
What is the woman?
Matt Walsh. Yeah, Matt Walsh. Brett Cooper. Look at even Tatum. Look at Lauren Chen. Look at all these conservatives out here. You know what it is? They don't have to do Daily Wire. Like, look at Allie Beth Stuckey. You know what they all have in common?
What?
They're all smart.
Yes.
They're all smart people. Whether you believe in their grift or their way or their theory or not, they're all smart. I don't think this girl is smart.
Yeah. The look on your face when I told you he was a oneness guy, that was amazing. It's like I robbed you of something.
Well, he's always having shirts that like he's like in the Tatum store, Jesus is God, like kind of stuff. Where he's just like, all this stuff, and I'm like, he doesn't believe in the Trinity, and so that's funny. The other day in Sunday school, I taught on what is the Trinity, why do we believe it, where does it come from, where did people get this theory, and so I do this every year at my Sunday school, and I'm a huge believer of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, if someone's like, well, that doesn't matter. It fucking matters. You Jehovah's Witness piece of shit. No offense to Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm sure you love your mother. But I'm just saying, Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe that.
Yeah.
And that's
yes, I did just smell my own underarm on air. Sorry.
I would too if somebody didn't believe in the Trinity. Let's see what she has to say.
On who's very like conservative or whatever hates my guts so much because you're one of those fuckers. You are one of those pathetic, lame fucks, and you're offended. You don't like it. Hey, guess what, you losers? Guess what? America is sick of this bullshit. We gotta start fighting fire with fire. All your nice little essays, all your nice Daily Wire and milk toast approach to politics has not helped us for shit. Obviously. That's why we're being controlled by this tiny minority of freaks. That's why we're being controlled by these people. I just watched the show with Brett Cooper basically shitting all over me. And you know why? She literally admitted it in the video.
That is not an accurate representation.
I'm a theater kid. That's why they don't like me. They
that's
don't
not what,
like me because
that's
I'm
not
right
why.
about you. Because you are one of
you're
those
a bitch.
theater nerds. And just because you're like conservative now doesn't mean jack shit. You don't like, you have a grudge, you have a chip on your shoulder, and it shows. And it shows. I'm doing more for free speech than any of these Daily Wire.
Okay, so I want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
She's saying that Brett Cooper has a chip on his shoulder. No, this incited, ranting, triggered bitch is way more incited than anyone.
Bro.
Right? Would you agree?
I would agree, man. And the funniest thing about this, man, is that the lowbrow commentary is my favorite part because I'm a realist, man, and I know that there's an audience for this, right? Because it's the same audience that believes the things. I'm sorry, I just got to be, I say it, man. It's the same audience that falls for Trump's rhetoric, where at the same time, Trump shelled out more than enough money during COVID. Let me not go down that pipeline. Here's the thing, man. This chick is a bum, right? And the minute conservatives learn how to play this part of the game, they will be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, the minute conservatives learn how to play this part of the game, which is, yes, we're for free speech, but this psychopath didn't come to the party with us, right? That's why you can't galvanize more blacks and browns to your talking points. It's because there's not a loud enough denouncement of these people. Now they have denounced her, right? But it's because of crazy friend shit like that. Listen, man, I think I know your views on this, but the other day my homie sent me a clip of Candace Owens denying the moon landing, and there's no quicker way for me to tune out of a conversation than when someone starts talking about that shit.
Wait, you believe in the 1969 moon landing?
Here's what I believe.
Yo, my man, what about the the tooth fairy?
Here's what I believe.
That bitch come to you lately? Because it's just as ridiculous.
I'm going to say the same thing that I say to you as the Hoteps. The proof of burden isn't on me. You're the one making the claim. You have to present substantial evidence to disprove it. And there in itself lies the uphill battle. I just choose to believe. I just choose to believe the mountain of evidence that says it did happen. Now, if you can present something to me that I can really latch onto that doesn't start with www. crazyroom.com.
Yo, we're gonna have an episode on this. We're gonna have an episode explaining. I'm gonna explain all this shit to you. Because
that's how crazy people talk.
Young brother, you've been lied to. You've been
Yeah, that's exactly how crazy people talk. I'm gonna present the truth to you.
That's exactly how Terrence Howard was talking the other night, right? I want to present the truth about you. 2 + 2 cannot be 4, brother. It cannot. It cannot. Why? Because of the waterways, man. You need to think about it. The geocentric album of it all moves it on the south side. So how is it 4? And then Joe Rogan's like pretending to follow. He's like, yeah. Right, bro.
Bro, bitch, oh man. But yeah, it's just I think this chick is one and done for sure, man. You know what I would really like to close with our last 5 minutes? And maybe because I know you're in a place now where you can let the full hate out. I don't know how I didn't know this about you. When did you start hating Amazing Lucas?
So, it's actually videos you showed me.
Oh, okay.
And I felt he was race gifting.
Oh, because he switched up from the conservative standpoint.
Yeah. And I realized I was like, he's going with the trends. He's going with the trends.
Do you not believe that his mind could have been changed by compelling arguments, or?
Well, there's that, and there's other things. And so the other things are, he's like a pretty boy, and so like what he does is he has facts and information in his videos, right? It's going. Right. It's going, you like it, and suddenly it cuts to him, and there's these weird cuts of him, and he's hanging out, and he's in a t-shirt, and he's like, yo, man, I need to think about it, and it's a photo shoot of some Metro motherfucker, and I don't need that. I'm like, just stick to it, brother, stick to it. Get back to the evidence, and he likes to jump away from the evidence, and I was like, I cannot stand his videos.
Yeah, I've never sent you a video before where you've asked me, can we not use this? Like,
no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. I did not vocalize that, but I'm like, this motherfucker, this pretty boy is like, make sure you get a shot of my biceps. Fuck you, motherfucker. The people are dying in the streets, and you're worried about your biceps.
Oh man, he had some smoke with Mike TV, someone we've talked about before. And Mike, I don't want no trouble with you, man. You got a lot of time to be digging up people's ghosts and shit like that. But they were going back and forth, and it was absolutely hilarious. In closing, man, I got something that might make you feel good, man. You know who Tariq Nasheed is? Irrelevant.
Give me reference.
Tariq Nasheed is one of the most vocal people in the community of the foundational Black American community, which is he doesn't believe in Pan-Africanism. He believes that, let me not quote him. He would say that there is no coalition of Blacks. There's African Americans propping up the coalition and other Blacks from different regions or the different continents in Africa. I'm sorry, different continents, different parts of the continent of Africa, just trying to chip away at our legacy. Well, he recently had a debate with one Myron of Fresh and Fit on Twitter Spaces or X Spaces.
It's such a weird debate. Because Myron's not an expert on anything. Except
he's not an expert on anything. And that's why he got completely handled in this debate. Because he actually asked a question, that he being Tariq Nasheed, that I thought was pretty amazing. He was like, hey, man, if African Americans are so lazy and blah, blah, blah. He's like, why'd you come here? Why didn't you stay in your own country where if hard work and everything...
He did not say that.
He said that. He was like, if hard work garners good responses, why didn't you stay in your country and make your country better? And I was like, holy shit. And Myron had no answer to it. He was like, you want to come here and you want to shit on the Black man. That's what you want to do. You want to spit anti-Black rhetoric. But he was like...
What do you mean he didn't have an answer?
He didn't have a response.
The first response is, we didn't have a choice. We were enslaved and enshackled.
No, Myron's not Black.
No, but I'm saying when he's talking about just like
no, he wasn't talking about Blacks in general. He was talking about Myron, who's a Sudanese immigrant who came here of his own free volition, and he talks about how Black Americans complain and having the honeypot, which is America.
Wait, isn't Sudan in Africa?
Yeah, no, it is in Africa, but he didn't come over here and change, bro. He migrated.
Oh, like he's from Sudan. Like he's like
Yeah, he's an immigrant. He migrated. He migrated over. Yes.
Okay.
And so Tariq Nasheed's point is like, if a go-getter attitude and pull yourself up by your bootstraps attitude can improve any situation, and you are the master of your destiny. He was like, why didn't your family stay in the Sudan and do that there? It's absolutely an absolute massacre to the point where Myron asked for a do-over, and Tariq was like, nah. He's like, I gave you one for free. Now it's got to be monetized. Like, I won't debate the same idiots over and over. And not only did he debate him, he debated. Wait, and I got to talk about this, man. Has Twitter just become a safe haven for crazy people? Like, is it just
for a while now? For a while, yeah, absolutely. You say, you know, since Elon took over, you can say. Here's what it is: they stopped the attacks. You can't attack people, but you can say crazy things like COVID isn't real. The Jewish space lasers. You know, it's all good. It's all good. D says, why don't you believe in the moon landing? So,
oh God, we only have 5 minutes.
We only have 5 minutes. D, I swear, you know what? We should have D on the show,
right?
Talking, and we should talk about the moon landing.
We can have D on the show and talk about the moon landing. I just want to make sure it's a night where I friggin', you know, can take some NyQuil or something that's going to make me just completely not attack my best friend, man, because it's.
So you admit that you want to zone out and not actually be there for the actual argument. Or maybe you should educate yourself, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what?
Maybe you should be able.
I've gone to the place. I've gone to the places that people have told me to go educate myself, and now I get weird text messages and shit like that, and I can't get off.
Rika says y'all says it's fake. I say it's fake. My man Steve believes in the bullshit the white man shoved down his throat, and so I'm gonna put you guys on. We'll do a whole special. We'll do an episode on the moon landing.
He's got a whole board and everything. He's gonna break.
I got a board. I got strings. You know, when you put the strings on the things, I got so much evidence. It's gonna Rico. You're gonna rename yourself.
Here's one thing I can't.
The moon landing was faked.
So the original moon landing was fake, right? But we've gone there since then. Or are they?
I do believe that. I do believe that. But I believe the original was faked.
Now, can I ask you a question? Did we steal the uranium to power our lollipop ships from the lizard people, or what was the?
Speaking of bad actors and bad faith questions, there's Steve living it up. Now, I'll if we're gonna do this, I will answer real questions and not shenanigans. They're to tickle my balls and fuck with me, bro.
You don't fuck with the lizard people though, right?
I don't fuck with the lizard people. And as you know, back on Mothership Monday, my co-host was all about the lizard people. I was like, this makes no sense. Like, flat earthers have a better theory than lizard people.
If ever there was a group that I consider dangerous and needs to be round up and not hurt, just monitored, I just want to keep them in a place where I can think they need to be monitored and how many kids they're having.
It's the lizard people.
It's the lizard people and it's the flat earthers. I just want to know where they are at any given point in time so I know what they're up to.
Yeah, no, flat earthers are intense, but lizard people are even more intense. People are into that. He says that moon landing is real. Mad Cat, why? I feel like Mad Cat is always going opposite of whatever I say. If I say left, he says right. Come on, bro. Open your mind. It's a fake. We got to. This is proof we need to make an episode just based on this shit.
We could do that next week, man. I'll give you plenty of time. I'm not going to come even with counter data. I'm just going to come to listen to your data.
Okay, I got you. D says next he's going to say the Earth is flat. No, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Some ignorant ass motherfuckers say that the moon, the Earth is flat. Yeah. What about flat Earth? No. Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys right now. Obviously, I never messed with it, and so I used to work in a deli. And so I made friends with this one kid. He's a cool guy. We never hung out of work, but he's my work friend or whatever. And one day we were talking about like Mars landings. People were talking about the moon, Mars, and they're putting things on it. We're all having things, and everyone in the deli is talking about it, except for him. And I look at him, and I'm like, what are your thoughts? He goes, oh, I don't believe in that. I'm like, what did you believe in? He's like, space and shit. So, what? I'm like, space, like all of space? He's like, yeah, I don't believe in space. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, all those images you see, Mars, the moon, it's all fake. It's all generated. It's computer generated. And like he's totally calm and normal about this. And I'm shocked. Everyone who's in the middle of the conversation, they're shocked. They don't know what's happening. Is he trolling us? Is he setting us up for a gag? Turns out this motherfucker this whole time for the last year was a flat earther.
So wait, when he sees the moon up in the sky, what does he see?
So he believes that the moon is a thing, but he believes like it's not massive enough to land on. He believes that the sun is like a light that... Here's what it is. He believes the sun and the moon are up there to patrol over us.
Uh-huh.
And that we're in some sort of glass dome.
Nice.
On a flat meteor-like thing in like ether or something.
You know what that was, brother? I'm gonna tell you right now. I gotta admit I'm wrong. You just proved that there are lizard people. Because only a lizard person would have that deep of thought and understanding. Like, only a motherfucker that knows shit is fake would be able to say that with such confidence. Like, the humans really think that there is a universe.
Yeah, and so you wouldn't believe and when I asked him more and more, you wouldn't believe what he believed stars were. It's totally freaking insane.
See, that type of person, I just need to know where they are. I need to have a chip implanted in them. I got to know if they're having kids. I got to make sure my kids don't end up in the same space as their kids.
So they believe on the flat earth theory, the border of everything is ice. So when we go any direction, we'll eventually hit ice. We think we're at the South Pole or the North Pole, but it's all just ice wall. So ultimately, when I asked him, I was like, well, how did any of this happen? He believes in a religious explanation. He's like, well, angels put us here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now I know you're like, everyone is judging me right now. They're like, man, just you're an idiot. It's not me. It's a coworker or ex-coworker. No, I don't believe in this nonsense. That's nonsense.
Wait, Beck says, I need my HOTD content before you do some moon landing shit. What's that? HOTD. What is that an acronym for? Is that Hotep shit?
That's some Hotep dick right there. Yo, Bex, we need to have you on the show to lead us in that. You all watch The Acolyte after this? Absolutely. I can't wait to watch this shit. As a matter of fact, we're at 2 hours and 1 minute. No spoilers. Please don't. Did you see it already, Matt? Did you see it?
Oh, House of the Dragons. I haven't started it yet. I assume that since Mantis has not brought it up, that's not that memorable.
Actually, there's two things I would like to bring up. I'm liking House of the Dragons. Here's what it is. The first half of the first episode is super boring, but when it gets into it, it's into it. And second episode is also into it. It's good shit. I'm enjoying it.
Let me see if I can guess the first 2 episodes. Something horrible happens. A dragon dies. Some more horrible shit happens. Did I guess it?
No dragon dying, but you're right. At the end of episode 1, something horrible that you don't even want to imagine happens.
Does a small child get raped?
Look at you.
Is that what happens?
No, brutally murdered. But so he's already upset. I like it. You know what else is like beating my ass with a broomstick. Interview with the Vampire season 2 is so good. It might be better than season 1.
I got to catch up. That's actually on my list to do for tomorrow, man. Bro, I think
warning. See, the first episode is like boring. Is like or whatever.
No, I'm 4 episodes in.
It gets so good that it's like unmissable.
Bro, I'm telling you this right now, man. I'm calling this, and I'm a Game of Thrones fan, man. The word formulaic was meant for Game of Thrones. The fact that I didn't even have an idea that something like this happened. Don't you find that odd that I can just call it like that?
Right. I mean, you are right. It is formulaic, you know that this universe or whatever.
You should all be ashamed of yourself. Every last one of you. When
Yo,
did we
D,
get to the-
next week I'll tell you what they think the stars are because it's so bizarre. I saw she's RM says I saw Acolyte episode 5. It was good.
All right, let's end the show. All right, good night, everyone.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck y'all. We're out. We love you all. Interview with the Vampire season 1 was trash. Matt, get some taste. I love you, brother, but get some taste. I was so good. Anyway, yo, Steve, where can they find you?
Y'all know where to find me, man. Mic check Thursday nights and Sunday nights over on Riz Radio. Make sure you go check out Riz Radio at rizradio.com. You can actually get the live show on the actual website. I want to drive a lot of viewership there. Not that I want y'all to start downloading download another app. No, ain't nobody making you download another app. I just want you to go to rizradio.com if you're on your computer. If you're using your mobile device, then continue to listen on Live 365. In fact, I would never get angry at anyone for saying, hey, I'm on this app. Can you download this for me? Because I'm a real friend.
Word. Well said. You did that absolutely well. And obviously, I am the Fat Mantis. Starting on Monday, clips from Fanboy Modeling School, the thing you're listening to right now, will be on weekday evenings on Riz Radio. But you can catch me on, what is my show called?
Burn Your Degree.
Burn Your Degree on Sundays at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., where it's just me acting like a damn fool. So many things to find on Riz Radio. Loving it. Thank you, everyone who stopped by. Can't wait to watch this Acolyte getting down with it. But until next time, motherfuckers, ciao for motherfucking now.
Ciao.